your practices are going or what kind of form you're in. You can just lose to an opponent that plays better that day. People start to individually start doing and calling things and calming things and making decisions that lead to the round slowly falling apart.
FNS! Welcome on, brother. A tough day, unfortunately, once again, and I just hate that we keep eating like this. It's it's not, but nonetheless, though, let's go ahead and get into it and get it out of the way, bro. What's up, man?
Yep. I mean, it sucks. It sucks to be in this position, but we put ourselves in this position. Didn't execute the way we should be doing with the talent that we have on this roster. And for me, I personally had a bad game, which sucks. It's very hard to, find any positives right after a game. You kind of have to look back and see what happened. But yeah, not doing too well, but it is what it is.
I agree. Yeah, it's tough when you look back on a loss like that, where it was a slow climb and then into an eventual rise, and then fortunate fall right afterwards too, where so many things just felt so closely and right out of your grasp of your hands. Right now, those I find those can feel the toughest to recover from, but we'll see what we can do today. Now, just to go start off too, I remember I was talking to Sam about this, I believe about last week as well too, after 100 Thieves and so on, and one of the biggest things was the idea and the concept of slow starts, right? That's been a big identity of 100 Thieves. That's been a big identity of NRG, especially when you saw in games like 100 Thieves as well.
That Drake? Yeah.
And so many of the series you played so far. Now, I understand it's not the most ideal thing, but it does seem as though that with the slow starts you have, you guys almost tend to scale upwards off of it too. So I was wondering your thoughts on it as well, because I'm not sure it's purposeful. I doubt it is, but
it's purposeful.
It's more so just a trend I've noticed, if anything.
So I think, okay, well, the slow starts do two things. It makes you question your own game plan, and it also kind of gives the momentum to the opponent, regardless of if they're supposed to be better or worse than you are. They feel they're on equal footing the second that we get off to starts like that, and I think that hurts us a lot. So obviously it's a huge problem that we've discussed. We've tried to figure out ways around it. And a lot of it just comes down to our discipline and the things that we need to remember, but for some reason forget when it matters most. We practice a lot of these protocols, post-plant retakes. There's so much that we practice. It's actually unbelievable. And it's some of the best practices I've ever had on any team. But for some reason, it doesn't always show in matches. And I think that's a big thing, and I don't think it has anything to do with people being nervous. I think people are we're just getting stuck between doing too little and doing too much. And I think maybe that has to do with the flow of the round itself. And I could point out 4 different rounds just on the first map where which they should have gone our way 100% of the time.
They lost a lot of men advantages.
Most of the time they go our way because we just have the discipline to make the correct.
Propel them towards the finish line and buy a third map for the series. For BBL, they're hoping it's the exact opposite of that.
What is this?
2 separate different things. What is this? Bren's blue sky post? If this is a Martha Stewart cow.
What is it? What is this supposed to mean?
So I've been getting his ass.
Knew exactly what he was doing. This knew exactly what he was doing when he tweeted this, didn't he? He knows that people are gonna use it, link it constantly, and the views are gonna go through the roof. This son of...
So there's the context for
the situations
and getting his ass. He doesn't have a clue. He does not have a clue, and now I'm
going
to
to
pretend like I've done it, and we're gonna pull the clip up again, and I'm gonna tap him on the shoulder. Okay. Here's the clip.
Huh?
Yeah. It's like you've emerged from the darkness.
Oh.
Here's a clip.
Welcome, side.
Go ham. Let's swap sides. Swap sides.
Crew versus NRG.
Yeah, you cast this game yesterday, so you should remember this.
Pistol round.
Crew versus
Pistol
NRG.
round.
Yeah, you casted it. I didn't cast this game.
Yes, you did.
Fraudulent imposter.
It was a bald man with a mustache.
So this was round 13. This was the pistol round, and what we're taking a look at here is Crew doing a little bit of their short control. Sorry, that's showers. Dude,
What's
I
happening?
don't even cast this game. Showers.
I don't get the meme. I'm sorry. I'm out of the loop.
I know what you don't. The Stuart cow on the broadcast. This, man.
Every single time we overfought or made the wrong decision in terms of where we were going to pivot to, And
They're happy, I'm
when
happy.
that kind of stuff happens and you make those mistakes, you start to kind of question what's going on. Like, why are we doing this and what's happening? And then obviously the opponent builds up ult points, they'll build up their confidence, they start running their set plays, and we end up playing to the level of our opponent, basically, and give them the momentum to play even better than we did. So I think it sucks. Honestly, I don't even remember your initial question. I'm just venting. It blows because there's nothing you can do to change it afterwards. You're now at a break for 2 months. Obviously, that sucks, but we did it to ourselves. I mean, we lost to Cloud9, a team we should be beating, at least on paper, and then
Dang.
we lost to Crew.
Adder
So
was really good.
we gotta bite that bullet and then focus up on and try to work on the things that we went wrong.
XQC
Okay.
drama.
I think my question is simply a prompt, and I am all for whatever thoughts you had in your head. And at least, hey, if anything, it makes my job easier, bro. So thank you.
Yeah.
I know it doesn't make yours easier though, which is the hardest part here necessarily. All I can do is provide the space for you. Nonetheless, aside from that though, is you did allude to it a little bit too, and it's something that I personally worried about as well, where that's one thing I've heard pretty consistently off of every single one of your teammates, right? Is the practice specifically has been some of the best because it's not as though you guys are unnecessarily ramming your head into all 12 hours a day, right? You guys practice in the most effectively way possible, right? Which is like it's 5 hours good, clean, you're focused, you're locked into. And you mentioned how it's going extremely well for you all too. And is it just a matter of translation over what you get done there to what's being done in front of our eyes, or is there a gap we're missing, you think?
Truthfully, it's hard to point out before watching the VOD itself, but just based off the rounds I remember we messed up, it obviously is a translation issue. I just don't know how to even go about trying to fix that because it genuinely just comes down to team synergy, the confidence players have in themselves, the decisions they end up making. And I think there are certain scenarios that we've gone over like
That's a
50
fire line.
times and talked about and then don't end up doing it. And for some reason, it always comes down to like, why didn't we do it? Like, it just makes no sense. Why did we do this instead? Why are we peaking like this? Why are we 1v1ing? Why
What's
is
the
no one saying
stats?
anything? Why are we pivoting here? It's just a lot more questions than we have answers. So, I mean, this is what happens when you lose. Like,
Team
it's
161.
Valorant's a game
Big.
where you can lose regardless of how well your practices are going or what kind of form you're in. You can just lose to an opponent that plays better that day. And
True.
today, Crew just played better, so I don't want to take anything away from them. But it's pretty inexcusable for us to be in this position, for our organization, for our fans who expect way more from us, and even for us who expect a lot from each other. So it's just disappointing to be in a situation where a lot of our practices don't translate.
Yeah, I understand the wholeheartedly, right? Where it's like it's just you've seen the the power, I would say, just the talent, and I think more so just the potential that I find that everybody has exclaimed that this roster could have, that this team could have, that you could have and have had, right? Like the things you guys have all managed to get done, which is incredibly impressive, right? And I find your resume and your pedigree precedes you, but it is truly a travesty that we land here today once again. But I remember I said this too, and unfortunately I've been in some tough positions throughout the entire display where I've had to say this to a lot of teams, where it's like, hey guys, the year is very long from what we observed, right? And that's and unfortunately kickoff is the most unforgiving format within Valorant as of right now.
Is the manager?
Which is just shit. Now, going back, I would have been nice, but of course, I mean, you guys are experts in making lower bracket runs. Unfortunately, today was not your day, but hey, is what it is.
Unfortunate.
It is indeed, yeah. One thing I was curious about personally was that you've had to make a lot of comebacks, right? The split already, and generally throughout your entire career as well, too. What I want to understand personally from you is that from the IGL perspective, right?
Who's in the call?
Is that
me and Mike
is the
Shroud.
mentality, how you call, and how much you actually made around change in terms of the pressure that you guys are usually placed upon, whereas to when you're playing from an advantageous position?
You definitely gain momentum when things are going your way, and I think that's a big confidence boost for my calling because I'm a lot more assertive in what I'm saying, and maybe my voice tone is a little bit different, I would assume, just based off how I'm saying things. But so yeah, I think that's a natural thing. But if I'm in a disadvantageous position, I still think I'm good at figuring out what's happening and trying to solve the problem, which is what I love about esports and competing in the first place is
Mhm.
you have to solve a problem every single round and try to outplay to the best of your ability. And I think it just comes down to like I think that for me is the beauty of the game.
More of a threat than last time to you guys?
Ah, eu acho que vai ser uma partida interessante.
Oh, we didn't hear the question, sorry.
Como você disse, é uma revanche. Os caras estão querendo ganhar e perdeu tá fora. Mas aquilo que eu falei antes, eu não me importo com eles. A gente tá bem preparado. E o que vier pra eles é bala. É isso.
No, he said he's ready for it. It's going to be a very interesting match. Of course, that sounds like a comeback for them, but you know, I don't really care about it. I'm just prepared to give them a bullet.
Good.
Best of luck.
How are you?
Yeah, I like it. I like this necklace too. This is nice. This is
prepared to give them a bullet. And on top of that, I want to take that chain. I think I'd rock the hell out of that, personally.
You think
I got
so?
mine. Yeah.
You got it,
yes.
okay.
All right, let's relax there, okay? This guy, it clearly gets paid too much. All right, well, you know, look, this is in, right? He was talking about this, right? He wants to, you know, he's confident. He's going to pull a bullet in the head. He's ready to go. So if this is the case, right, I'm assuming you're going to really be leaning on Ninjas in this.
I think he's trying to fix his stream. I think he's having some technical difficulties right now.
And primarily with the operator. Look at that, 50% of rounds on
We'll come back to
defense.
this
He's rocking the
if we want to, the interview, but we can
are winning
check out
these early
this
rounds. They're making sure he has enough money to purchase
analysis
that up in round 3 or round
we're gonna
4.
start soon, I
He's
guess.
been absolutely crushing with that.
Let's keep it going. Fuck it.
It's
kind of
I do what I
soothing.
do as an IGL.
Kind of soothing to
but,
listen to.
You know, you're gonna have days like this where things genuinely just suck completely, and there's nothing that you can do about it. There's nothing anyone can say to you to make you feel better about it. It's just there's no real excuse for it either because your practice is going so well, and you know you're doing everything right. It feels like you're doing everything right. So that's again the beauty of the game. You just still can lose regardless of what situation you're in, who you are. You can still lose at any given day where things don't
See that MIBR tweet? Can you link
work
it?
out the way
We're not
that
signed to
you
Twitter.
should. Like, even on like 1 or 2 rounds, and then snowballs. So yeah, just going back to my calling style, I think it does sort of change. I try to play a little bit. I just try to figure out what's happening every single round and try to figure out the best solution to the problem, or try to predict what the opponent's going to do next based off what they did previously. I would say that's a lot easier when you're in an advantage because you're just so confident in your next call because you feel like you're reading them. But yeah, we've been putting ourselves in too many of those disadvantageous positions, and some of it's unlucky, to be honest. Like for example, Adam. I think two of my teammates got spammed before fucking barriers went down, bro. Like
yeah, they got spammed a lot.
Like, come on, like a run around, that kind of stuff happens, and so yeah. But to be fair, it's inexcusable. I mean, it is what it is. Obviously, there's something that we need to do differently. Routine-wise, maybe I don't know what it is, but these obviously we understand that these slow starts can't continue, and there's no real excuse. But we are doing everything we can to remedy the issues.
Yeah, I remember there was that half on bind where Adam had probably the unluckiest like half, bro. Like, which is
you got timed out, but thank you for the link.
Yeah, that just fucking sucks. Like you just can't do anything about it. You're playing 4v5, like a minute, and then you're like, well, shit, I guess.
Like winning the pistol because they didn't defuse in time, and then getting ecoed immediately after that when we have a huge advantage in the eco round, and these kinds of things just genuinely should not be happening.
But he also had a good match.
Team is drilled
so it doesn't hit as hard. This would have hit hard if he had a bad match.
And I think a lot of it just
he had the
comes
most
down to
kills
our
in the
discipline
server.
and
Yeah,
matches. I think sometimes we feel
it would have hit hard if he had a bad match.
I don't know if this is true because I'm not going to speak for my teammates, but
what was the
sometimes
head-to-head? Let me see.
it feels like we are so confident in what we're doing that people start to individually start doing and calling things and calming things and making decisions that lead to the round slowly falling apart. And sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't.
12-13,
Whereas
pretty
we have a
even.
lot of set things that we can fall back on, which feels like a lot of the times we don't fall back on those things. And
Are you in Shroud's house? Why
you know,
not?
it just comes down to being disciplined and understanding that every opponent is strong as hell, and you have to treat. It's not even that we're underestimating. It sounds like what I'm saying is we're underestimating the opponent, but it's more the decisions that are so confident, like, okay, fight this, now fight this, now fight this. Even though we're doing it together, a lot of the times it's necessary to play the post plan out. And the decisions that we're making are so overly aggressive because my teammates are just so confident in themselves. And, you know, most of the time that's not an issue. But in this case, it definitely bit us for sure.
Yeah, it became interesting.
Who's taking care of Nabi? Nabi's a grown man. He's taking care of himself. Come on, buddy.
Yeah, everything's going wrong today.
Yeah, tough.
Grown man living off another man's wealth. Why not?
I remember I did try to ask about people.
Got a roof above my head, food on the table. What more can I ask for?
I wanted to ask people on what they perhaps wanted to ask. A lot of it was on like, you know, stuff about changes and calling and so on too, which I felt was like that's all fine and done and that was seen. But one thing that I noticed a trend of was that people constantly just rag on you for, and I've been harping on you for since last year. I remember has been like, as you know, has been like your KDA, your ability to perform in games, right? I don't necessarily care about how well you manage to do, right? It's like, but then also mine is like,
that is so strange.
Just the amount of
like
I find
wasn't
backlash
working
and
is not
criticism, or
working.
even just memes you get about it too. Is it fair?
Yeah, I mean, I compete, and anyone who competes and doesn't perform will get, you know, criticized. And then that might be through memes, that might be through, you know, people just genuinely hating you because they're a fan of the team and they want them to succeed or whatever. That's just gonna happen. And I think I've proven that, to me, okay, is more like, I don't take it personally because it is what it is. Like, I think anyone that's a fan of a team or whatever wants to see them do well, and then when they see a specific player underperforming, they're going to say something about that player, whether that's like, oh, cut them or find someone else, whatever. And I think that those are I think that's pretty normal. I don't take like, it sucks to see, but I mean, what am I going to do about it, right? Just got to play better. So like I said, there's no excuses to be made for example, my performance today.
Here we go.
Just couldn't get into it at all.
Thank you, Phoenix, for filling in my dead air time. I think it's a good interview, though. Good interview, chat. What do you guys think? I feel like it's good insight.
Visa. This is